What's going on YouTube? My name is Mr. Crippled, and today I'm going to be talking about the current state of Smite 2. Now, before we really get into a deep dive of the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to keep up with any future content I will be having in the future, I'll be leaving a link to my Twitch and my Discord in the description below. Now, Sm- let me go ahead and say this, is that I do feel like Smite 2 is a fun game. It is 100% a fun game. How you build is very unique. The liberties they took with Conquest is still very fun. The god selection that they have is also still very fun. However, it does have a lot of chinks in the armor. Especially being that there is a significant lack of content for something that's not free. You know, I unless I'm mistaken, I believe Smite 2 probably came out of alpha, or not came out of alpha, but is now still free and available to download off of Steam or off the PlayStation Network, have you. But there are people who paid 30, 60, $100 for their copy of the game, and there's just a huge deficit of content. Like, there's only two game modes, three technically if you want to go ahead and count like ranked, but that most people are going to be staying away from ranked, and you're going to be subjective to just conquest and arena. It doesn't make any sense why none of like at least slash or assault. I hate assault, or even the dumb game mode of the week. Like, if you have that in the game, I don't understand why those couldn't be in the base game, because that would have significantly helped with the game's lack of content, especially if they're going to come out the gate with only having a handful of the gods that are in Smite 1. Um and before I really get too deep into that, I do want to go ahead and talk about the god selections, namely about the hunters and the warriors. The hunters right now are very underwhelming. Only two of them, in my opinion, are really performing, and that's Jingwei and Neith. Jingwei really only performing super well right now because Crit is in the game, and Crit is very strong. And then the second that they start nerfing Crit, Jingwei is going to start disappearing into the background. And Neith just has the added benefit of being both a mage and a hunter, so she could double dip into both those items and benefit really well out of that. And even then, Neith is still Neith. She still has a very run move. She still has a very kit, and her autos don't really hit all too hard, and she's way too focused on being a mage rather than an ADC. But she's still strong in this game. Um, and to top it all off, the best ADC in the game right now, in my opinion, isn't even a hunter. It's a mage. It's Soul, because she can build crit, but she has built-in sustain too. She has a um she has huge heals. Her clear is brain dead and can hit both the minions and the wave. Like, Soul's the best. Soul's the best ADC right now. And with the warriors, they're just, now this is just opinion, but the warriors are boring. The only one, and I can't say all of them are boring because, Mordred's in the game, and Mordred is cool, but Chalk is boring and is notoriously bad. Bellona is, Bellona. She's fun every once in a while, but at the end of the day, she just smashes her face against the controller and autos you to death. And Odin is good. He's good, but he's also boring. Like, um, there's no real hype behind playing any of these characters. And again, besides Mordred, they just feel really not that interactive. And heck, even when we're talking about Amaterasu was good, and she was fun, and she was a good addition. But she was broke, and she got taken out the game for a little while. Um, so the one other god other than Mordred that was actually fun to play as, you can't even play as her anymore right now. And again, it just has to do with the choices that they made with the god selection. I feel like it just should have came out with more when it comes to that. Um, the other thing that I want to talk about with the game is the training mode. Jesus Christ, the training mode just feels terrible. Like, well, it doesn't feel terrible anymore. It used to be a whole lot worse back when the game first came out. But the thing with the training mode is that um why is it so difficult to start testing stuff with characters like the R3 button? And again, that's kind of a niche issue. But if you're, let's say, like, take this for example. If you're trying to practice as Mordred, right? If you're trying to practice as Mordred, you can't walk up to the bot and practice using your R3 in the middle of combos because it's going to swap out your input to heal the fucking bot. Like, why? That's a minor issue. Another thing is that, again, I didn't like this in Smite 1 either, but in here, why can't we change the NPC we get to practice on? Like, each god has their own significant base stats. And so, while it's nice that they added in the fact that you can give the bot items now, so you can really test it against tankier builds, you can't test it on gods specifically because the tank build on your mirror is obviously going to he's going to feel a lot tankier than like if you put it on Neith, because Neith has different base stats than he does. You should be able to swap out the god that you're practicing against to get a better understanding of what the numbers should look like. Also, the fact that, sorry, with the starter items, if you pick one starter item in training mode, you can't go back to the fountain and sell it. So trying to test out builds is a hassle because you have to keep jumping in and out of fucking practice mode to test out different starters. The next thing I want to talk about is the item mall in Smite 2. Now, don't get me wrong. This item mall is still pretty nice. I do like the fact that they kind of have everything separated here with the cooldown rate, healing reduction. You can go down for physical protection, magical protection. It does seem a lot easier. However, it's a lot easier for PC players, for people who are playing on mouse and keyboard. And yes, I understand that with MOBAs, there's going to be a significant difference between, or significant advantage for people playing mouse and keyboard comparatively to somebody with controller. But the problem is in Smite 1, people who were playing on controller still had an easy time navigating through the item mall, albeit it took a little, like a tad bit more time, if you were good at it. But it didn't take you forever to kind of come over here, go into these, make sure you separate everything, go to your consumables, your starters. And I play on PC. But I still use my controller. And even then, when I go into my item mall, it's just so much faster just going into the item mall using my mouse and keyboard, because using a controller takes way too long to navigate through this. I don't really understand why they changed it from Smite 1. Smite 1's item mall was very simple. It was easy to access, and I feel like that the item mall was fine. It just needed a UI update. That's really all it is. It just needed a graphical update from Smite 1 to Smite 2, and it would have been perfect. You still could have had all of this and had it all separated, but had it a lot easier for controller players to navigate. Another thing I want to talk about is the legacy gems. I don't understand why they gave this to us, because I was excited. I understood that, you would have to use the gems from Smite 2 and a little bit of the legacy gems to purchase some skins, and then sometimes some of the older skins you could just use legacy gems on. I understand they told us that. Where are they? Like straight up, where are they? Like, where can I buy these skins in this game? Do I have to jump all the way to Smite 1 to purchase them? I don't fucking know, because they don't pop up in the individual guy's inventory, and there's no damn shop in Smite 2. So what the hell do we even have these gems for? There's nothing to spend them on. There's no skins, nothing from the other game transferred over, like, other than the ones that are from the cross gen pack from Smite 1. Other than those, but what about other skins? Like, I know I'm not tripping when I say that these gods were in Smite 1 and they had a bunch of skins, and we would like to use them, especially people who had Smite 1 and put money into the game to have certain skins. Why are they not in this game yet? Or where's the shop so we can start purchasing these skins? Or where's any news about being able to purchase these skins? Like, there's just, you're playing the game, you want to look cool, there's nothing to fucking spend the money on because they didn't think to put this in the game. Like, why? The last thing I want to talk about is glitches. Now, if you could see here, I'm going to go engage with this Bacchus, and he stuns me, and I try to go in. As you see right here, what do you notice about this Mordred clip? Is it the fact that I'm not using my push? Well, if you look at the bottom right hand corner, you can see that it's stuck at 0 out of 0. And it was like that for the entirety of this game. And while I may have went off, and I am patting myself on the back for that because I certainly did go off for my team, um, that is something that's very game breaking, can really affect somebody's experience. And you know, it's very difficult to already have fun in a game like this where you do have to have some sort of innate skill and had to build like muscle memory and learn how the game works and how to team fight and this, that, and the other. And then out of nowhere, the game starts taking away mechanics from you. And the game starts making your life a lot more difficult. I was watching a video with a different YouTuber, and he was trying to use Amaterasu's dash, and it did the audio and kind of looked like the animation for it, but he stood still. Now, thankfully, it didn't take his mana and it didn't take the cooldown away from him because he never really used the skill. But it's still something altogether that kind of just ruins the immersion of the game. The last thing I want to talk about is the lack of content from Smite 2, namely the missing content from Smite 1 to Smite 2. Now, the easy thing to notice is that there's a significant lack of game modes, as I've mentioned back in the first half of the video. Technically speaking, there's only 2 game modes. There's Conquest and Arena, and then Ranked Conquest. And I get that this is a new game. They need time to start adding things in. They need time to, basically make the new UI, the new graphics, and everything fit into the game modes that they have for Smite 1. My problem is that to me, I feel like they've had time. I feel like they've been working on this for a while. And to top it off, what makes it more insulting is that people have paid $30 to $100 for a completed game and ready to go just to get into the game and realize not only it's an alpha, but you're lacking content. And not just the game modes that we're talking about, because I honestly think they could have added at least the game mode of the week, have that changing every once in a while, or even slash or assault, something that's a lot more geared towards the casual mindset, because not everybody's going to want to play arena all the time, because let's be real, there's some gods in arena aren't as good as they are in conquest, and vice versa. So having more game modes are just going to make it more incentivized to try out different gods as well. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is basically the stat wall at the end of every conquest or arena match. It's the stat wall and just the end game in general. Where are my animations? Where are my win or loss animations? The cool thing about Smite 1 that really got me into it was seeing the different win or lose animations for each and every god and seeing how much effort that they put into each one and how characteristic it was. On top of that, it had your currency earned, your favor earned, the amount of worshippers that you earned. It had a way more in-depth stat wall showing who was top damage, top support, who had top healing, who did the least amount of damage, who took the least amount of damage. It was very interactive, so you could see the results of the game. And yeah, they did show end game results now. They did add the fact that you can now see each person's individual numbers, but to me, it just feels lazy. It feels almost soulless in a way comparatively to Smite 1. There's not a lot of effort there. And I get it. I guess it's an alpha, but again, people paid money for this. I expected more. And that's going to be the end of the video. Go ahead and leave your thoughts about Smite 2. Don't get me wrong. Again, I really enjoyed this game, and I'm still going to be playing it, and I'm still going to be making content on it because I love this game, and I love this series because I hate myself. But what do you expect for Smite 2? What gods do you hope are going to be in the game? And what changes do you hope that Smite 2 is going to introduce? Thank you for watching the video, and y'all have a nice rest of your day.